The biggest thing that's going to help you make more sales is leveraging how you've helped other customers that are specific and similar to the clients that you're currently talking to. So if you're getting good results, and I hope you are, document the results that you're getting. Have an interview on Zoom with your client and talk about the results in an organic way. Once you get a big win for a client, ask them, right? Hey, would you mind, writing a testimonial, a video testimonial about your experience working with my company and the results that we've helped you get? Do this at the peak of their excitement with working with you. We're going to go over that right now.
We talked a bit about how if you double down, you get more specific testimonials from people, but we didn't talk about how to collect testimonials. So everybody nowadays can write, oh, this such and such C-suite person wrote this nice thing about our company on the website, right? You've all seen those like scroller hero images where it says, oh, they just said this. Oh, they said this, right? We don't believe you anymore. Sincerely are your customers, right? Everybody has all this social proof, but the one thing that you really can't fake easily is a human person sitting in front of a camera and talking about their experience with you. If you try and script it, it will seem artificial and they will not believe it. You cannot get around this. I don't care how good you are at coaching people to leave a testimonial. There's just something about someone casually recording a video that is honest and off the top of their head. Yes, they may say some things that are not as professional. They may say some things that are not as flattering. I promise you, it will be more powerful either way. This is the big movement with user-generated content, where a lot of marketers think that their content seems authentic, when in reality, when you ask the actual consumers if it seems authentic, the content made by the marketers, most of them say it doesn't. So there's this disconnect between what the market wants and what the marketers want or think, right? So it's very simple. Ask for the testimonial on a high point right after you've paid them. If you give them kickbacks or referrals, right after they've gotten some success using your product or service, right? So, let's say you have a system where it tracks, like, let's say you're training people, how to finalize their resume, to use the earlier example, right? Maybe it checks in on them to say, oh, did you get hired, right? Every now and then. As soon as they say, yeah, I got hired, then you ask for the testimony, right? Because they're feeling great. So ask for it on a high point, and then there's a site that I've seen people start using, which is testimonial.to, I think is the link, which is kind of interesting. But really the best thing I found for collecting great testimonials is actually just to get on a Zoom with them.
I was going to say,
interview
them. Yeah,
exactly. And it's, be very natural about it, right? It's just, it's been a great time working together with us. How long, when did we start together? When did we start working together? Right. And so that's the vibe. It's not like I'm going to read this script off and you're going to read this answer off, right? You just have a conversation. And if they have really enjoyed your product or service, trust me, that excitement will come through. So
another great thing for testimonials is provide great results.
Yeah, right. Yeah, so it's actually tragic how many companies
that makes testimonials much easier to collect.
Yeah, and you actually get people results. It's funny how that works. So this is a good point. A lot of companies focus on trying to scale too early when they've not validated the fact that they actually can get people results. So if you really, really double down on one client, for example, if you're a marketing agency, you get one client, a ton of results. Now you've got this amazing case study. Oh my gosh, you can throw that far and wide. Look at what David Riggs did, what Jordan Ross did when he was scaling Jordan Riggs. He said, yeah, we drove $1 million in revenue through the website within 11 months of starting, right? He threw that far and wide, and it worked. He grew like crazy after he got that case study. So sometimes you have to pay it forward a little bit to make sure that you actually are getting good enough results that people are going to be wild about your product or service.
And send the correct testimonial to the correct audience, which goes back to the product market fit. So if you give results for a real estate agent, don't send that testimonial to a software company, because yes, they're great results and they may, sponsor you, but at the same time, it's not speaking to that person. Like, oh, well, this guy works with real estate agents. He doesn't work with me, right? So it's actually counterproductive. So send the correct testimonial to the correct avatar who's asking for it, and then leverage those testimonials like you just mentioned, right? Like use that in your email copy, use that in your landing page, use that, share that on LinkedIn, right? Like leverage the testimonial, because getting someone a great result is great, but it's not great for you telling other people about it, right? Like you have to market yourselves just as much as you're marketing to other businesses.
Great. So one last thing with the social proof in terms of writing, building, using case studies. So this is something I see a lot of companies do wrong is their case studies are really, really boring. No one wants to read them. They're too dry. They're too long. So the case study really, you should be able to cover in 2 or 3 paragraphs. This is not a white paper. So a good example of a company that did this well was Zenodata. These guys hired one of the greatest growth consultants on the face of the planet to help them build out this website. So, if you were to open these, you'll notice they did not make this a white paper. This is not 3 pages. It's just like, okay, here's what the company was, here's what they were going through, here's what we did, and then here's the results they got. Right. And you can provide tangible results and things here, and you can add a more detailed story. If they show interest or if it's a lead magnet or there's more value inside the case study and things like that. But in terms of just presenting these, quantity of brief case studies will do more for you than one really long case study that has the same amount of content.
Yeah, it's human nature. They just see 20 case studies like, all right, these guys are legitimate.
Yeah.
People don't have the time or energy to read each one. So making it hard for them to pick and choose and be nitpicky, like, this might not be us. If you just over inundate them with results, it's a very easy way to portray that you guys are legitimate in what you offer.
And then go back to the homepage, because they do expand on one of the case studies below, which is, I think, a
great headline: 4 organizations looking to dominate with data.
Yeah.
Very specific. Very
easy to read with a sub headline of exactly what they're going to do. And notice the copy is interesting. It's like, are you spending a king's ransom on technology, right? And then there's the bandwagon effect. Like, okay, the data leaders are switching. People want to ditching, and are switching, right? And don't be your company's data chump, right? Down below that, like, nobody wants to be a chump, right? So then if you scroll
directly after they pose the question, then they give you how they've helped people who may have answered those questions correctly.
Yeah. Exactly.
So are you spending king's ransom on technology? Well, this is what companies who do spend king's ransoms and work with us now see.
Yeah. The one thing I don't like about that, the CTA, was get a price. To me, it's like,
but here we go. There's more.
Yeah. So this is when they expanded on a little more, right? So they told the story and all that stuff. But again, this is the expanded version. This is still like 3 paragraphs, right? So,
and I'm just going to trust this because I don't have the time.
Yeah, this is literally how people are going to scroll through your website, by the way.
Yeah. Like, all right, what do they do? Step 7. All right, maybe I should just book a call to understand how this works.
Yeah. Well, and you notice they said that the old way and the new way. So, what did
time frame is huge.
Yeah, it has to have a time frame for it to be tangible. But think about like what Steve Jobs did with the iPhone, right? I mean, there's the old way, then the new way. The old way is he's talking about, the clunky keyboards that look ugly. And then he's like, but now there's the new way. So in the same way, let's say, if you were pitching email back in the day, if you were pitching modern internet versus dial-up, you'd say it's not going to make that wacky noise. It's not going to take 3 hours to download something, right? So we exist as creatures, we live on comparisons. Everything is about comparison. So if you show them all the problems with the old way and then just show them the new way without just pitching them, shoving your product down their throats, they come to the conclusion that your product is better and that they need it without you having to even force them to take interest.